It's been 19 years as all the camps are open in the NFL. 19 years since we've had a repeat champion. That was back in 03-04 with the New England Patriots. And I believe there's a reason why the Patriots repeated and why they were good year after year after year. Belichick, Brady, and brains without much ego. I do think the Rams have a strong chance to repeat. The NFC is not as good as the AFC. I think they are the best run operation and the most talented team in the NFC. Not sure they stack up with some of the AFC teams. But again, I think it's McVay, Stafford, and brains without a lot of ego. Joy and I live in Los Angeles. Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in 20 years. You don't see ego. McVay, Les Snead, Aaron Donald. You don't get a lot of ego. And that matters because the NFL is so much more popular than every other sport in America that when you win a Super Bowl, everybody becomes a rock star. Everybody gets a book deal, a car deal. You know the name of their linebackers, the interior linemen. We've seen this time and time again. The Philadelphia Eagles, ego got in the way. They won. Everybody got a book. They started lecturing the Patriots on how to win. Remember that? That was always good for a laugh. The Seahawks won. Remember they blew out Denver and Peyton Manning. Guys like me are like, that's the best team I've seen in 20 years. Team's unbeatable. Go win 5 straight Super Bowls. Weren't humbled. Ego got in the way. The Buccaneers won a Super Bowl with Brady. Everybody got paid. Even Brady acknowledged last year the team wasn't as focused. So the key in this is, can you win the Super Bowl and be humbled at the same time or criticized? If you go back to those Brady teams when they won early, that back-to-back, Brady's a system quarterback. They weren't blowing people out. These were close games. They were an underdog in big games. It's more culture and system. Brady's not nearly as good as Manning. He's not as talented as Big Ben. There was this constant doubt. There was this constant... Seahawks won. It looked like the best team we'd ever seen. Philadelphia won with all the Nick Foles trick plays. Everybody got paid. Bucks win. Everybody gets paid. How do the Rams get humbled? I saw this morning. This is perfect. Pro Football Focus. Everybody reads that, right? Everybody reads it. Had their top 50 players in the NFL right now today. Their quarterback, Matt Stafford, did not make the list. Didn't make the list. 3 Rams in the top 14 didn't make the list. On the same day today, Mike Sando of The Athletic, very respected guy, did his NFL tiers, quarterback tier list. I talk about this every day, every year at this time of the year. It's very respected. Matt Stafford, he didn't make tier 1. Now think about that. So he beat Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, outplayed him. Burrow is 27 in the Pro Football Focus list and tier 1. Stafford outplayed him. Brady, who he outplayed, he's 8th. Stafford beat them both. In fact, Justin Herbert, who plays in the same stadium as Stafford and could not make the playoffs, he made the list. Tier 1 and Pro Football Focus. Stafford's nowhere to be found. Despite the fact that he led come-from-behind victories in the divisional round, the NFC Championship against Brady on the road, and in the Super Bowl against Burrow. And he's not on the Pro Football Focus, top 50 players in the league, and he's a tier 2 quarterback in Mike Sando of The Athletic's highly respected quarterback tier list. And that tier list is based on executives and coaches and people around the league. So Stafford's reading that, and he'll, of course, read that. And he's like, I'm a tier 2 quarterback? I'm below Justin Herbert? I'm the second best quarterback in the stadium I play my home games in? He didn't make the playoffs? Just the kind of doubt, eye rolling, you're not there yet, settle down. That stuff matters. So this Rams team, their star quarterback, and by the way, Stafford, who's well-liked in the building, his coach is reading that, his teammates are reading that, Aaron Donald's reading that, Cooper Kupp's reading that, and they're thinking, he's the second best quarterback at SoFi Stadium? And you know I love me some Justin Herbert, but that is some disrespect. Matt Stafford, Tier 2, not a top 50 player in the NFL. All righty then. When Davante Adams, who used to play with Aaron Rodgers and now plays with Derek Carr, was quoted as saying over the weekend, when you go from one Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer at quarterback, there's a little adjustment. Oh, the internet imploded. Well, Aaron is going to be a Hall of Famer, and Derek Carr is going to be a Hall of Famer. Some of us are perceptive enough to see it years before others. But there's no reason to be smug about that. Derek Carr is entering his 9th NFL season. Davante Adams, I don't think he really clarified what he was saying. He still said what he meant when asked about the comment he made. It's amazing to me people struggle with the idea of something we have all lived through, adversity. If you told me you ran a company and had a $100 million net worth, but your dad was a billionaire, I'm going to be much less impressed than if you told me I run a nice insurance business, I make a great living, and we've done well for our family. That's impressive. If you came from a tough childhood or adversity, nobody gave you money, you had to build a business yourself. We all know that to be true. That's why we cry when we see certain stories on social media about young people overcoming this and overcoming that. It tugs at our heart because many of us have experienced that. We didn't have a perfect family. We didn't have a lot of support. Not saying my childhood wasn't better than many, but that's what tugs at our heart. That's what they make movies about in Hollywood. They don't make movies in Hollywood that anybody wants to watch about kids from trust funds. That's not tugging at anybody's heartstrings. And this is where I'm always going to support Derek Carr, and I don't understand that people don't get it. He's been in the NFL 8 years. For 7 of the 8, I'd argue he had a below-average offensive line. He's on his 6th coach entering his 9th year. The franchise moved. He's in a tough division with Kansas City and Andy Reid. The last couple of years, the organization was run from 2 guys hired out of network television. But this is the stat. In Derek's 8 years in the NFL, he's entering year 9. The Raiders have allowed the most points in the league in those 8 years and had the fewest takeaways, meaning he doesn't get a short field. He doesn't get a week off. He's got to win by shootout every damn week. Every week, the franchise needs him to overcome the defense and the bad O-line and the TV guy who's now a GM and a coach. What a shock. I looked at Mike Sando's quarterback tiers this morning. He has Derek Carr ranked as the 12th best quarterback in the NFL. I think that's reasonable. I have him at 10. A study conducted last season, says Mike Sando's quarterback tier list, showed that Derek Carr got worse support from his own defense and special teams than any of 41 quarterbacks with at least 3 years as a starter over the past decade. The biggest criticism of Derek Carr is explainable. It says his issue, he doesn't like to get hit. A, nobody does. B, his brother David Carr entered the league and took a physical beating for years, and that ended his brother, who he's really close with. He watched his brother take a beating physically for years. And so Derek, having watched somebody who he cares deeply about, his family, go through something, like if you watched a member of your family go through a horrible divorce, you may not want to be inclined to get married really quickly. So Derek Carr watched his brother go through a physical beating, and he is really, really aware of get rid of the ball. But we all acknowledge in life the stuff that makes us cry, that tugs at our heart, that Hollywood writes scripts about is overcoming adversity. Derek Carr is the picture of it. And last year, Henry Ruggs, John Gruden, in the tougher AFC, he carried them, the life preserver for the franchise in the desert. He carried them to the playoffs. So yes, folks, Mac Jones and Tua and Kirk Cousins complete 70% in the clean pocket. That ain't the game. Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh drafted him. Give him a clean pocket for 6 years. He's going to complete 68% of his throws. But the Steelers have a bad O-line. Now let's see, like Derek Carr, if 8 years later, you can be a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler with a good 7 years left. He better buy a gold jacket. He's going to be given one, but he should just get used to wearing it. And by the way, Once again, what does Derek Carr have this year? A new coach, a new general manager. The division is now the toughest in my lifetime, and I wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs. I may not predict it, but I wouldn't be shocked. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.